A decorated player and coach, Paul Beechey achieved the ultimate success with Bridgenorth, both as a premiership player in 1996, where he was best on ground, then as senior coach back in 2010, which currently remains the club's last senior premiership. The accolades don't stop there, with Beechey also being selected in the All-Star team from 1971 to 99, as well as other recognitions, as we will learn in this episode of Defying the Odds, the history of the Bridgenorth Football Club. Well, as we continue our series on the Bridgenorth Football Club, today we're joined by, he was the premiership coach of their last senior grand final victory. That was back in 2010. It's great to catch up with one of the great players of the NTFA modern era, Paul Beechey. Good to see you, Beech.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me.
You're looking fit and well still.
Yeah, trying to do a little bit. I think vanity keeps me trying to keep fit, mate, I think, at the end of the day. So, probably a bit old to be playing these days, but yeah, trying to look after myself, mate.
Well, we talked to Joel Clements the other day, and he was actually saying I'm 4 games short of 300, and I think he's still itchy to get back and maybe get those.
I'd like to see him get it, because he's put a lot of time, a lot of years into here, so if he could get his 300, I think it'd be well deserved. So he should do it. He
should. You heard it. Get back down here. Hey, we'll get on to your involvement with the Bridgenorth Football Club, because there's plenty to talk about, but you've had a decorated career at the local level and also in the TSL. Where'd footy start for you?
Bit of a funny story, really, because when I left high school, I was probably one of the smallest kids to leave school, and then I started an apprenticeship, and I thought I lived near St Pat's, so I thought I'll go and have a kick at St Pat's. And rocked up there as a 16-year-old, or maybe nearly 17, and I couldn't even get a game in the twos. So I just gave it away then, and then the following year, Johnny Cario was coaching Hagley, and he worked across the road from my dad, and so I ended up out at Hagley. So spent a couple of years, 17, 18, out at Hagley, and then rolled down here as a 19-year-old.
You would have grown up pretty quick at the Hagley Football Club.
Tell you what, it was a baptism of fire out there, playing Perth and Bracknell and all these sides. Like, I remember, Tank Hill and Shovel Hately and all these guys running around at Perth, and I was this skinny young kid. Like, it was, it was pretty scary at times, to be honest.
Yeah, but you grew up pretty quick.
Yeah, it was a good way to cut your teeth, like just playing in that comp and against those sort of guys. It sort of made you grow up playing against men, and it was a really good experience. And I think we played off in a couple of grand finals at Hagley, so that was a great experience straight up as well.
Yeah. So did that give you a taste and a desire to sort of want to, progressively get to a higher level in footy as well?
Probably wasn't. I was, I think Craig McIntyre, who was my first coach here at Bridgenorth, I think Macca would probably attest to saying that I was pretty lazy. So I was in it more for the fun and just having a good time. And I know he used to get pretty frustrated with me. And like, when I look back on it now, I used to get frustrated with people with the same sort of situation. So I was probably pretty lazy. It wasn't until I went to Lonnie in 92 into the NTFL that I really started to have a crack, and then thought, this is not going so bad. So it sort of progressed from there.
What attracted you to Bridgenorth?
I didn't really know anything about Bridgenorth at the time, and I was at Hagley, and I was playing out there with a couple of friends, and a guy, Andrew Isles, who's very heavily involved with this football club still, said he was going down here to play, and I happened to be going out seeing a girl who lived up the road here in Rosevale. So, and he was friends with the brother, and I sort of somehow ended up down here. with another mate of mine. So it was a great move at the end of the day.
Now, I guess where Bridgenorth is located, like you think Hagley, oh, that's miles away, but yeah, when you come the back way, it's not far, is it?
Yeah, that's right. And like everyone used to think, oh, you're going out to Bridgenorth, but really from town, it's like 15 minutes and you're here. Like it's nothing really. So
how did you find it out here? Because we've spoken about it a lot with others that we've spoken to. there's no township. There's really nothing here other than bush and farmland. But how did you find it?
Well, that's what I've said, you know, in other interviews. Like, we don't have a speed limit sign, we don't have anything out here, and then to have this community that comes together for the common goal of football, cricket back then, Vigoro was big here as well. So it's just an amazing community that were very much centred around their sport, and that brought them all together for the social side of things as well. And that's what I really loved, was the social aspect of the football club. And not only that, the culture was terrific as well. Like, people here weren't only interested in how you played sport, but they were interested in how you were as a person, and you were growing some ability to play sport, but you're also growing to be a better person, a better man out of it as well. And I think that was something that really has stuck with me over time, is just that culture that drives the people that we are within this place.
Yeah. The other striking thing that I've found is around so many generations of families have been involved from, you know, the beginning to today. I mean, we've got, you know, the Beamses, the Brumbies, just to name a couple, the Pecks. Seems to be a club that obviously has a lot of history, turning 100, but also, I think importantly, seems to be a club that can easily attract people because of its culture. Yeah,
I think so. Like, obviously you've got Launceston Footy Club pretty close by, and then we had the other clubs down the river, and I guess when Exeter fell over and then Tamar Cats fell over, and then you had Lonnie in the State League, we became that other team in the river region that was only one in the NTFA. So I think that helped as well, but definitely that culture and just the family feel of this place, the environment that created, I think was second to none as far as bringing your children here, bringing your family here. It was just a really good place to be, and still is today.
Yeah, absolutely. And then your time at Bridgenorth 96 was obviously a big year for you and for the club, winning the premiership that year against, you talk about Hagley and playing with the men. I mean, you're up against Rochalee that year, and I mean, to put into context for those who are not aware, I mean, the clubs had some big name players back in those days.
Yeah, it was a pretty strong comp. I think Nick Elmer was coaching Rochalee, and they had players like Tony Brand still running around. So, it was a really good competition that year. I'd been at Lonnie's in the NTFL for a couple of years, and then came back to Bridgenorth and played in that premiership, so I was pretty fortunate to be able to, it was good timing, and that was a great win. We didn't travel that well early on, I think we were sitting 5th or something, but our run home, a few players came in late, and it sort of set us up nicely for the run home, and to win that was amazing. After such a long time, this footy club had been without a premiership. And in the NTFA, our reserves played it as well, but they were beaten that day. But yeah, it was a pretty good time for the footy club.
How did you celebrate?
Pretty hard, I think. Sort of struggle to remember a bit of it because it's so long ago. I'll say it that way.
Okay.
But it was really good. But I think, and we'll probably go on to the second one, but I think the second one's more fresh in the mind. But it was a great time, and it's something that you always remember as far as footy goes.
And talk us through your personal performance that day, because you won the Clary Boo Medal for best on ground in 96. So you obviously had a great day personally as well.
Yeah, it was good. I think if you look at it, there was probably 2 or 3 guys that probably could have won that. But it was really good to have a good game on the main day, I guess. So. Was pretty happy with how I went, but more so there were some other guys like Puss Hadley and Lee Bonney and Rick Frangic and blokes like that all played really well also. So I think, it was probably a bit of a toss of the coin to who won that, but I'll take it.
So Rick Frangic would have been a good bloke to have in your corner too, wouldn't he?
He was a good bloke to have in your corner, Rick, so yeah.
You mentioned about, former coach, you thought, you might have been a bit lazy, etc. You eventually became a coach and coached Bridgenorth to their last senior premiership back in 2010. So where did Paul Beechey start to think, I'd like to get into coaching?
I think after I went, because when we were in the TSL with Lonnie, and then we weren't given a licence, I think at the end of 96, 97, I went back to Lonnie, and then 98 they lost their licence, so I went to Devonport and played for a year. And after that, I thought the travelling, the family were growing, and I just wanted to come back to the footy club. So I decided I'd give coaching a crack in 99, and I think we won the Wooden Spoon. So it wasn't the greatest start to my coaching career, but then I think we played finals the next couple of years, and then I went away from it again, and then came back in 2009. Which was great. And I think I just grew up a lot in that time, and I was a lot different coach in the second stint than I was in the first. And and I guess that worked out all right for the footy club.
Absolutely. Did you model yourself on anyone in particular that may have coached you like before that time? Because as I said, you've played at the highest level in Tasmania with Lonnie, and also with Devonport, and I guess back then as well during the 90s with some pretty high profile coaches coaching around the traps as well.
Yeah, there was, and it was the day when they were recruiting ex-AFL players into the sides, like all around the state. So it was a really quality competition back then. It ended up, I think it's fair to say that a lot of the places end up going broke, football clubs, because of that, wanting to bring that sort of calibre of player in, and came at a cost at the end of the day. So I sort of took bits and pieces out of everybody. So Chris Whitford was a really good coach, and took a lot from Chris. And then I went down and had Max Brown there, and Michael Lockman was at Lonnie, and so I just sort of did bits and pieces. And Phil Thurlow was pretty big for me, like from 99 to 2001. So so there was some really good influence that I had, and I just sort of studied a bit and tried to do it my way, and I was lucky enough that it worked out in 2010.
And here we are, 14 years later, and that's still the last senior premiership for the club to this day. But what's your recollections of that day?
I was going into it, like, we had a really good season, and going into it, Scottsdale had come from 5th, and and they'd played on some really heavy days down at Windsor Park when that was just a bog hole, and I just felt pretty relaxed going into it, because I thought we were a pretty decent chance of taking it out. And that's no disrespect to Scottsdale, but so I was pretty relaxed going in, but it was a great day, and like the reserves just got up, and then that created that atmosphere for us when we were running out, and once the boys got out there, they just did what they needed to do, and we won quite comfortably. I think the game was pretty much over by 3/4 time, so I was able to just soak that up in the last quarter, stand on the boundary line, didn't have to throw the clipboard at all or anything like that. So it was really good, and I think being in the club rooms when you've had two sides that have won, and we hadn't won since 96, so it was a fairly long stint. So I think two sides in the change rooms. Then we got on that bus and we drove out here, 40 odd guys on a bus with 2 premierships, everyone having medals around their neck, and then rolling into here, and this place was packed.
Right.
And I think we rolled in through the door to We Are the Champions playing, and we all got up on a stage over there, and it was like, I'll never forget it. It was so good.
Who were some of the great leaders off the field then, Beach? Who led the celebrations?
Everyone had a bit of a go, but I remember the club rooms had just been all replastered and redone, and I remember it was early morning, and I think there was one of the players was hungry. I think it was like 3, 4 in the morning, and they locked the club rooms up, rightly so we couldn't get in here. We found a way through the roof out of the change rooms, and decided to put an extra, where that manhole probably sat, he decided to put an extra hole in the roof where he fell through it. So
not going to name and shame?
I won't name and shame him, but it was pretty funny. But I know Dennis Brumby, the president, was not too happy the next morning when he came through to see all the plaster on the floor. That was one of the funnier moments from it.
Fantastic. And today, 14 years later, I mean, the club still means a lot to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it shaped who I became, not only through sport and football, but as a person as well. I think, and I think that's what a lot of people would come here and say, that they've had, it's had an impact on not only as a footballer but as a person as well. And I think that's a really important trait. If you can say that about a football club, then they're doing pretty well.
And we've seen a lot of clubs come and go, and associations come and go. Bridgenorth's 100 years old. They've got an under-18 side that's been very well, that performed very well over a number of years. The women's have won their premiership, led by Bobby Beams this year for the first time as well. I mean, what do you think the secrets are to the club not only being successful on the field but sustaining it?
I think it's that culture. I think that's what it comes down to, the people, and building that culture and having that standard not only as a sport, as a football side of things, but as people as well. And I think everyone's just is comfortable, and it's like one big family, and that's what I've always found with this football club, and that's why it means so much.
Yep. Well, Beach, not a bad spot to do an interview, is it? Hey,
Yeah,
sitting on the bay, you would have sat here a few times, mate.
I was going to say, I feel pretty comfortable with what I'm doing, to be honest, Rick.
Well,
so
we appreciate you coming on and being a part of it, and cheers, mate. Thanks for everything you've done for the footy club.
Thanks, Rick. Cheers. Thanks.
Alan Brumby, 300-game player and life member of the Bridgenorth Football Club. Alan and his wife Lynette are owners of Winkley Farm that produces the very best pork in Tasmania. Dennis Brumby, 443 games played, including the 1983 Senior Premiership side. Dennis has been on our football club committee for 30 years, 17 of those as president and 8 as secretary. He too is a life member and an NTFA living legend. Along with his wife Tracy, the Brumbys have a strong and ongoing family connection to our great club.
Are your dollars flying out the window? Do you want to save on average $1,390 per year? By choosing Titane double glazed windows and doors, you'll add value and comfort to your home while saving energy. Titane windows and doors.